We are diving into something that is, no joke, a huge game changer in SAP S/4HANA Cloud. We're talking about giving business experts, the people on the ground, the power to customize applications all by themselves. This is all about making the system work for your team, without getting stuck in a long line waiting for a developer. So, have you ever been in an SAP Fiori app and just thought to yourself, this would be so much better if I could just move this one field over here, or maybe I really, really wish we had a spot for this one piece of info. It's a super common problem, right? Well, the solution might be a lot closer than you think. And that solution is called Key User Extensibility. It's a whole framework built specifically for the people who know the business inside and out. We're talking key users, admins, specialists, people who aren't professional coders. The entire point is to put the power to tweak the system directly into your hands. Honestly, the best way to think about all this is like having a digital toolkit. For pretty much every kind of change you want to make, there's a specific tool waiting for you right there on the SAP Fiori Launchpad. So let's go ahead and crack open this toolbox and see what we've got. And you'll see it's actually really straightforward. If you just want to move things around on the screen, you grab the Adapt UI tool. Need to create a field that doesn't exist yet? Well, that's a job for the Custom Fields app. And what if you want to make the system do something new? Then you'll turn to Custom Logic. See, for every goal, there's a tool that's just the perfect fit. All right, let's start with probably the most common thing people want to do, changing what you actually see on the screen. This is all about customizing that user interface or UI to make it way more efficient for your team. But hold on, before you get too excited and start rearranging everything in sight, there is one crucial first step. You've got to check if the Fiori app you're looking at can even be changed this way. Not all of them support it, so trust me, doing this quick check up front will save you a ton of headaches later. And thankfully, that check is super simple. All you do is find your app in the Fiori apps reference library, click on its documentation, and just look for a section called App Extensibility. If you see that section, you're golden. It'll even spell out exactly what kinds of changes you can make. Okay, so this brings us to a really important distinction. On one hand, you have Adapt UI, which is all about working with what's already there. You can drag fields, drop them, hide them, whatever. On the other hand, the Custom Fields app is for creating something totally new from scratch, and then making sure that new field shows up everywhere it needs to for consistent data. And here's a little pro tip for you. When you create and publish a new custom field, it doesn't happen instantly. Publishing is a scheduled job that can take up to 30 minutes to finish processing. So you gotta be patient. Go grab a coffee, come back, and it should be ready to go. Okay, so we've covered changing how things look. Now let's go a level deeper and talk about changing how the system actually behaves. This is where we start adding custom logic to make our system a little bit smarter. Custom logic lets you trigger new actions at these very specific, predefined moments in a process. You do this with something called a business add-in or a baddie. The easiest way to think about a baddie is like an official SAP-approved doorway where you can safely plug in your own rules or actions without any risk of breaking the standard system. Now, using the Custom Logic app is surprisingly easy. You just find and pick the baddie you need, that enhancement spot, and the system literally writes the necessary code for you. It is an incredibly safe and controlled way to add some really powerful logic, and you can even peek at the code it generated if you're curious. So, we've tweaked the UI, we've added some smart logic, but what happens when you need something that just flat out doesn't exist yet? Well, that's when we start building brand new experiences from the ground up. And this journey starts with something called a custom business object. Now, I know that sounds super technical, but it's really just a digital bucket that you create to hold a certain type of business data. You know how the system has standard objects like a customer invoice? Well, now you can create your own version of that for whatever unique need you have. And here is where things get really, really cool. From that one custom business object that you define, the system can automatically generate the database tables, the APIs to talk to the data, the user screens to manage it. Essentially, it can spin up a whole new simple application for you. And hey, building new experiences isn't just about creating whole new apps. You can also improve the user's home base by creating custom tiles right on their Fiori Launchpad. Think of them as powerful little shortcuts to an external HR site, a reporting tool, or any other web page your team needs to get to quickly. Of course, building something new is only half the battle. You have to make sure the right people can actually see and use it. And that's a simple three-step dance. First, you create the UI, then you publish it to a business catalog, and finally, you add it to a Launchpad page that's assigned to the correct user roles. All right, we have built all these amazing customizations. So now for the final, and maybe the most critical phase. How do we safely move all this great work from our development system into the live production system that everybody uses every day? Well, this whole process is managed by a tool called the Adaptation Transport Organizer, or ATO. The ATO is basically your traffic controller. It makes sure every single change is tracked and moved between systems in a very structured, orderly way, so nothing ever gets lost and everything has a paper trail. And the process itself is pretty straightforward. First, you bundle all your related changes together into a software package. Then you officially register that package for transport. And finally, an administrator gives it the final approval and releases it, sending it on its journey to the next system, whether that's for testing or straight into production. And if you're wondering how you keep track of all this stuff, you've got the Extensibility Inventory app. Think of it as the master library for every single extension you've built. It shows you what's there, who changed it, and most importantly, how different pieces are all connected to each other. And there you have it. A full toolkit that really empowers you, the business expert, to adapt what you see, enhance how it works, and even build totally new things. And it's all done inside a safe, controlled framework that lets you shape the system to actually fit the way your business runs. So we'll just leave you with this one final thought. Now that you have the toolbox, what are you going to build first?
All right.